LEGO Master Builders are the minds behind official LEGO sets, making them some of the best LEGO designers in the world, hence their name. But that comes with some restrictions, like ensuring LEGO sets are sturdy enough so kids can play with them. So does this imply that someone building without limitations could be superior to a master builder? Perhaps, but I guess I should add some specifics as we go into another Meticulix Building Session. To clarify, when I say superior to a master builder, I mean designing a model that does not use overt illegal building techniques, but would not meet the standards to be released as a real LEGO set. Still confused? Then let's look at the model in question, my Samus Aran helmet. At first glance, one might think it shouldn't be more involved than any other LEGO helmet, which is mostly true, were it not for its main distinction, the visor. This will be the focus of today's building session, and was the first order of business when designing the helmet, because if the visor didn't work, that was it. There were two major hurdles to overcome, the visor color and shape. For the color, I wanted to use either transparent neon green or transparent bright green, as a solid color would not achieve the desired look. But this added an additional problem by limiting the pieces available in the chosen colors. Having a slightly more versatile part set, transparent neon green became the color of choice. But since transparent pieces are, well, transparent, I needed to add a layer of lime green pieces behind to complete the effect. So far so good, but that was the easy-er part, as we now begin shaping the visor. We should take a moment to look at the source material of Samus's helmet. The aesthetics of Samus's power suit changes slightly between games, and this is somewhat true for her helmet as well, which is why I like to loosely classify them into three distinctions: Classic, Prime, and Fusion/Dread. This is also partially why I don't like the Samus Returns helmet, because it's way too aggressive for pre-Fusion Samus. Now Dread wasn't even announced when I designed the helmet, but I'm sure it wouldn't have made a difference seeing that I find the Prime version the most iconic, which was fortunate considering it has straight, angular lines. And what made it all come together was the humble 1x1 30-degree slope, or cheese slope as it's affectionately called, being used as a chunk of cheese in set 10193 Medieval Market Village. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, or any smooth sailing for that matter, because you cannot just line up a bunch of cheese slopes and make a clean line. You have to stack them at half-plate intervals to make it work, and there is no specific category of part designated half-plate. But that doesn't mean we can't make our own. Let's take row 3 for example and start with the headlight brick that anchors it. From the side, one can clearly see that bricks are not square, leaving half a plate underneath the side stud. If we now attach another headlight brick upside down from the side stud, we can negate said half plate. With that knowledge, here's what the final configuration for row 3 looks like. Recall that we need a layer for the solid color backstop. Each row utilizes a different technique to align its cheese slope correctly. On top of this, rows 2 through 4 are staggered back at half stud increments to slightly curve the visor, thus complicating the internals even more. Now that we've got a properly shaped visor, it's time to set it into the helmet. But of course, that causes more problems. See, even though cheese slopes are 2 plates tall at the top of the rise, you cannot just squish 2 of them together to equal 3 plates, because remember, they're 30-degree slopes, not 45. There is, however, a bizarre way to make it happen, but I didn't find out about it until much later, plus it wouldn't have worked in this scenario, so I'll talk about it at the end. My solution isn't the most robust, but it does work. By mounting a 1x1 brick with handle at strategic points, we can attach a plate with vertical clip and a cheese slope on top. This will allow us to slide it to the appropriate position without causing strain. Plus, we can easily invert the assembly to create a nice line underneath, thus finishing the visor. Now thinking back to my original statement, what is so superior about this build? Well, it's the color. See, in order for this model to work, the visor needs to be transparent. I would know because I initially bought solid color pieces, and it looked okay, but when I swapped them for transparent neon green, then it truly came together. But the only way to get the proper shaping is with those 30-degree slopes, which then requires a somewhat unstable assemblies below the visor. When I began constructing the helmet, I was very skeptical of my skills to design such a model, which is why I schemed to upload it to LEGO Ideas and, in the absolute 1 in a million it got approved, I would be able to see just how a real master builder would make the visor. However, as of yesterday, that didn't happen. But to be frank, I don't care it didn't get enough support. Sure, it would have been awesome to have a real LEGO set to my name, but as for the final product of the design that I built, I am very pleased with how it came out. No, it doesn't adhere to the rigorous durability standards LEGO sets have put to, and I'd be hard-pressed to say LEGO couldn't do one better with the visor, but at the end of the day, I have one of the coolest LEGO models I have built to date, and that is enough for me. Now before we go trotting off to the end, remember earlier when I said there was a way to place a 30-degree slope on top of another? Well, LEGO themselves actually used this trick for their Bellatrix brickheads in set 40496. It involved taking two Technic bricks and attaching one upside down utilizing the axle through the center. Now hold on, you may be saying. Isn't that the same thing you did with the headlight bricks? Technically, no. Let's take a 1x1 brick with stud on the side, and next to it place a 1x1 Technic brick with hole, plus a half pin with stud. Now we'll attach a 1x1 plate to each. It may be difficult to see, but the plate on the Technic brick is ever so slightly higher than the brick with stud, to the point that it strains the connection of pieces across the top. This is why utilizing Technic bricks in this scenario works. However, you then need empty space above the inverted Technic brick, which in my case I did not have for the outer portions of the visor. If you feel compelled to examine the design of my Samus Aran helmet in more detail, feel free to look at the building instructions located in the description, or watch my boring series of speed builds that show the raw process behind the initial concept, or check out the cool speed build of the final product. But that's it for this video. So until next time, goodbye.